If you're a writer who's in need of a little inspiration, or a reader who's just curious about the writing process, then here's a place for you. Hello. Oop, sorry. Just in again to do another reading from my poetry collection, which is called A Brief Encounter of Consciousness, Affairs of the Soul. And today I am going to be reading... I think I know what it is, but let me just double check. Yes. I was finally ready to change my life. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little background into that. Hi again. I was going to do the poem out here, but I just realised with dog bags, with phone, and with book in hand and lead, it's probably going to be a bit of a disaster. So, if I had committed it to memory, I would have done it. But yeah, I will just wait until I get home. And it's quite a long one as well. So, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. I forgot to say, I have nearly finished my poetry collection, which I feel a bit sad about. There's a handful left at the moment. So after this, who knows? I did say I was going to sort of share my work and possibly share the stories from If You Were in My Shoes, which is a collection of short stories. So I may do that, or I may do something else. Yes, but whatever it is, it will be, in a similar vein in terms of me sharing my work in some capacity. But yeah, I was just thinking about that yesterday, in fact, and thought, oh my gosh, I'm nearly there with the poetry collection. So there you go. Okay, so I am back from my walk with just about to say Charlie. That was my old dog, that one, with Joe. So I'm going to sit down and I am going to read from my poetry collection, which is called A Brief Encounter of Consciousness, Affairs of the Soul. And I'll be reading I Was Finally Ready to Change My Life. Again, this is prose. It reads more like a memoir. But there is always sort of aspects of fiction, I suppose. But yeah, it reads more like a memoir, this one. And it is basically about just when we, devalue ourselves, and we devalue ourselves because it just becomes habitual, that behaviour. We devalue ourselves, so then we allow it to be done by other people. And I have experienced this in the workplace, to be fair. And then it's just about kind of you know, gaining mental strength to combat this, inner situation, okay, and get the inner strength to battle it and to come back to oneself, okay. And we can be in quite dark places sometimes, which is not, it's a very harrowing place to be, but we can move past it, and we can move past that with love. We can move past that with emotional support. And actually, if we don't have the emotional support, we can, of course, support ourselves, okay. And when we sort of decide to take action in that way, so much can be accomplished that doesn't maybe manifest on the outside so much, but inside we feel different. So, of course, I guess I'm contradicting myself, because if we feel different on the inside, then it stands to reason that it would manifest on the outside in terms of other people's behaviour towards us. Okay, right. So that's enough of that. I'm feeling a little bit tired. Okay, but I have a few things to do, which I guess is just making me feel that way anyway. So I was finally ready to change my life. I was finally ready to change my life. The pain of being... Sorry, let me start again. I was finally ready to change my life. The pain of not being who I knew I truly was had become too great. The fear of never knowing the life I greatly desired became bigger than the terror of moving out of my fatigued inertia. I had allowed the opinions of others to rule my life. I had allowed other people's opinions to completely influence my own, despite differing values. I allowed this because I felt I no longer knew myself. And I was so tired. Tired of not knowing what I wanted out of life anymore. Tired of chasing alternative careers because I no longer felt I had the ability to do what I was really brought here to do. Tired of fighting multiple manipulations. Tired of my own betrayal of self. That's when my professional training as an actress came into play, ironically. I acted my way through years of my life, so people wouldn't see what a waste of space I felt I had become. I lost my hope, my voice, my clarity of mind and direction, and my appetite for life in general. I had been admitted into a self-imposed prison and allowed others to hold the key. People will treat you how you allow them to. As I now felt worthless, I invited all who came into contact with me to treat me that way. As no boundaries had been created to protect myself, I was open to mental and spiritual abuse. Sometimes I could give as good as I got, but there was no love. Everything a pretense that should have been real. There were those that contributed greatly to my recovery. My children, who kept a part of me alight with love, who loved me back, and with every beautiful experience we had, taught me that love really did grow. They taught me that it was okay to love and not to expect anything back, to just enjoy the fact that I felt love and was able to give it. And in our hard times, they taught me about the true meaning of forgiveness. Even though I had always been quite a forgiving person, The one person I could not forgive was myself. Guilt consumed me, then rage, then resentment. Sometimes I would shout too much because I was afraid of my loss of control and afraid of the confrontation necessary to create real order. They were patient and forgiving, annoying and loving, naughty and nice, just normal children being raised by a frightened mother. I noticed that when I felt balanced, they were more balanced, and we enjoyed each other's company. We would make each other laugh. I think before that I was afraid that they too would see that I wasn't anything special and wonder why they had been cursed with such a mother. Like I said, we went through hard times when all we did was shout at one another, and I could feel them pulling away from me, and I was terrified. I had to start seeing them as people in their own right and stop referring to the many rule books written by others to raise my children. I began to trust my judgment more. Bit by bit, and my children responded with love. I am by no means the greatest mother on the planet, but my children know without a shadow of a doubt that I love them with every fibre of my being. Because it is my duty, but above all because it is my joy. I am truly blessed with them. They have such beautiful hearts, and their love nourishes my soul. I sincerely hope my love does the same for them. Another tonic that brought me back to myself was the constant love of my siblings. We did not have to exchange stories of our past pains and joys because we lived most of them together. They get me. They know me. And they had my back even when I didn't have my own. Their gentle, unjudging nature soothed my broken soul. After spending only a few days with them, I was fueled enough to carry on, knowing that I had enough in my spiritual bank to do the right thing by and for my children. My siblings have seen me at my best and seen me at my worst, yet loved me the same. They know what lies within my soul, and they remind me when I forget. They have always respected me, even when I had no self-respect. They are my real friends, and I love them more than I am able to express on paper. We also have had our moments when we fell apart for whatever reason, but behind whatever issue was occurring, I always felt the love. I wasn't frightened of being cast out for having an opinion. And in my worst state of depression, even when I felt I no longer knew them, which was terrifying, they still held me spiritually, just listened, and allowed me to return to them when I was ready. I am truly blessed to have such siblings. They have beautiful hearts and their love nourishes my soul. And finally, my partner. Not one for big emotional displays. He held me up in other ways, allowing me to move at my pace, trusting that I'd find my way. I am truly blessed to have such a friend, and his love nourishes my soul. As time moved on, I had enough fuel to wake. It wasn't easy. And I'd often go back to sleep because I wasn't sure I could any longer handle the responsibility of my own life. But my mind wouldn't allow me to stay asleep. It kept shaking me to wake and pointing me to voices that would fill my heart again with hope. This is not it. There is so much more. You are worthy. This is not it. There is so much more. You are worthy. This is not There is so much more. You are worthy. I started to believe it. I started to see myself and potential again. And although I had a long way to eliminate my many fears, I was finally delivered from my cocoon of numbness and hopelessness. Now something could be done. Ooh. So there you go. I was finally ready to change my life. And as mentioned, only have a few more left. So let's enjoy them. Until next time, take care. Bye.